U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson arrived in China for talks that will include the crisis over North Korea's nuclear, missile programs and trade.
We'll talk about that on my visit. I want to welcome Vice Premier Liu, the State Department. Pleased to have her with us today. And I'm pleased to have Secretary DeVos, who will be deeply involved in the social and people-to-people dialogue that we'll be having today. So welcome to both of them. Thank you. We have preparation for President Trump's important visit, so we want to talk about the agenda for that visit, and then we'll continue our discussions on a number of other issues that are important, but certainly North Korea will be on the table for discussion. Thank you.
Tillerson's visit comes at a time of high tension between the United States and North Korea, China's neighbor and ally, which is working to develop nuclear-tipped missiles capable of reaching the U.S. mainland.
Late last month, North Korea fired a Hwasong-12 over Japan, which traveled 2,700 kilometers and reached a maximum altitude of about 550 kilometers.
China today announced that it will close all North Korea business in the country within 120 days.
China announced it will ban all joint ventures with North Korean entities and close existing ones within 120 days. The country's Ministry of Commerce explained that the measure is in line with UNSC Resolution 2375, which imposed sanctions on Pyongyang over its most recent and most powerful nuclear test. The resolution requires UN member states to prohibit their nationals from entering into new businesses with companies and individuals from Pyongyang. South Korea held its annual Armed Forces Day at an earlier date this year. President Moon Jae-in emphasized the need for a strong military deterrent in his maiden speech to the brave men and women present at the event. Moon Gun-young has our top story.
A powerful military deterrent is the only way to bring peace and prosperity on the Korean peninsula. That's the message delivered by South Korean President Moon Jae-in as he marked his first Armed Forces Day as the nation's commander-in-chief and the country's 69th.
South Korea's military strength was once again on display as the country celebrated its 69th Armed Forces Day. It commemorates the day when South Korea and UN forces reclaimed the 38th parallel, the line that divided the two Koreas before the Korean War. This year, the ceremony took place a little earlier than usual, as the October 1st date of the anniversary falls during the Chuseok national holiday. 3,500 people attended the ceremony, staged at the Navy's 2nd Fleet in Pyeongtaek, the first time it's been held at a naval base. It's also near the location of several deadly clashes with the North over the years, a reminder that the Koreas technically remain at war. The ceremony is seen as a chance to show off South Korea's military hardware to the world, and especially to North Korea. In light of Pyongyang's recent provocations, Seoul was also keen to emphasize its own ballistic missile capabilities. On show were several weapons from the Kill Chain Deterrence Plan, which targets North Korea's key nuclear bases in the case of an attack. It includes the Hyunmoo-3 cruise missile and the Hyunmoo-2 ballistic missile, which recently had its range extended to 800 kilometers and was tested earlier this month in a show of force after one of Pyongyang's ballistic missile tests. To display the strong alliance with the U.S. military, General Vincent Brooks of the U.S. Forces Korea was awarded the Tongil Medal, South Korea's top national security merit, for his dedicated service, the first time a U.S. commander in Korea has been recognized for Armed Forces Day. Moon Jae-in had emphasized his priority for pursuing a peaceful solution, but with the current tensions on the peninsula, the president recognized the importance of Armed Forces Day as a show of the country's military readiness.
평화를 수호하기 위한 우리 정부의 의지는 강력한 국방력을 기반으로 합니다. 무모한 도발에는 강력한 응징으로 맞설 것입니다. 강한 안보 없이는 평화를 지킬 수도, 평화를 만들어갈 수도 없습니다.
Speaking before some 3,700 military officials and men and women in service at the Navy's 2nd Fleet in Pyeongtaek, South Korea's new commander-in-chief called for utmost efforts to beef up the nation's own defense capabilities. That includes the kill chain preemptive strike system, the Korean air and missile defense, and the Korean massive punishment and retaliation plan.
더불어 한미 연합 방위 능력도 강화해야 합니다. 한미 동맹의 확장 억제력이 실효적으로 발휘되어야 북한의 핵 도발을 원천적으로 억제할 수 있습니다.
That joint deterrence, however, must be led by the South Korean military. President Moon highlighted the need to bring back wartime operation control, or OPCON, of its own armed forces at an early date.
우리가 전시작전권을 가져야 북한이 우리를 더 두려워하고 국민은 군을 더 신뢰하게 될 것입니다.
South Korea was originally scheduled to take back the wartime OPCON of its military from the U.S. at the end of 2015, but the transfer was delayed indefinitely under the former Park Geun-hye administration, which cited a need to further develop the country's own defense capabilities first.
나는 우리 군이 그럴 능력을 갖추고 있다고 믿습니다. 나는 국민과 함께 우리 군을 신뢰합니다.
This is the first time for the official Armed Forces Day ceremony to take place at a naval base and not the usual Kaedongdae military complex. The Blue House explains the sizable venue was chosen by the president himself to accommodate all three branches of his military and reflects his resolve for a balanced growth of all three, the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. Moon Gon-young, Arirang News, The Blue House.